There was this man who lived on the 10th floor of an apartment building. One night he heard the fire department riding through his street. Just like most of us, he got up, looked out the window to see where the fire department was going. As he got up and looked out the window, he realized that the fire department was coming to his apartment complex. And in the process of that, he realized that the first floor of his apartment complex was on fire. And the fire was quickly spreading to the top of where he was. So in a panic, he runs out the door, down the steps, to realize that the fire is now starting to come up where he was. And if he runs through it, he could possibly die. So he runs back up into his apartment building and he yells out the window, "Help." In the process of him yelling help, the fire is still rapidly spreading up the apartment complex and is shortly going to get to his room. So the fire department opens a giant inflatable landing pad and they tell him jump. And he yells back and he says, "I'm afraid to." And the fire department says, "Well, if you don't jump, what are you going to do?" So the fire is still rapidly spreading up this apartment complex. And he looks back and he now realizes that the fire has now reached his floor. And the fire department, the people are telling him, "Come on, jump, jump, come on, jump." And he says, "I'm afraid to." And in the process of that, he's looking and he's seeing the fire start to now engulf his apartment. And the fire department literally tells him, "Come on, jump, you can do it." And he says, "I'm afraid to." The sad thing about this story is that most people may feel as if though he built up enough courage to jump. Well, I want to tell you, he never jumped. And he ended up dying in that apartment complex. The fire department laid out everything that he needed to be safe to jump. But because of his fear of jumping, it prevented him from ever jumping out of the window and being safe. The reason that I tell you that story is because the fire department represents God. We represent the man who was afraid to jump. Sometimes God will make sure you have certain things in order. So therefore, when you take a step of faith, that everything is already laid out and you will have a safe landing. But because of our fear, some of us, because of lack of faith, because some of us have the mindset that we need to see and we need to be safe in order for us to take the next step, we most of the time end up having analysis paralysis, meaning we don't know what decision to make because both decisions don't look safe. And a lot of times we end up like the man in the apartment building. We have a dream, we have a vision, we have a goal, we want to start something, we're believing God for a particular thing. And most of us are just too scared to jump. Not because the things aren't right there in front of us, but because we're too scared to take the step. And so most of us end up dying right where we are because we will not jump. And I want to remind someone today is that Hebrews 11:6 says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. And he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. I want you to think back on your life about some situations and circumstances, or I want you to think now currently about some times where you didn't take a step of faith because you were too afraid to jump. You didn't know whether or not it was safe for you to jump. I think a lot of us can resonate with this. I know that I can. And so what I want to ask you today, or something that I want to encourage you to do today, is take the step of faith. Understand that when you step with God and when you step out on faith, God honors faith. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So if you could see the next step, it would not be faith. I hope this helps somebody, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.